But I'm a believer that if you don't program your own mind, somebody else is going to program it for you.
Precisely. Exactly. Your mind is like an open slate, and you want to be the one that puts those thoughts there. And in that particular situation, I really think that sometimes, see, there's denotative and there's connotative. Even when you speak, there's the intended meaning of what you're saying or doing. And then there is the perceived meaning of what you're doing or saying. Some things that we do with a good intention can be perceived wrong. You must be very, very conscious of that. I think that the judge sitting in a high position, I think that she was at the end of the case, just the maternal instinct in her, the emotions surrounding it. I think she was just trying to say, hey, you got convicted, do your time. I don't think that she intended any harm, but the perception of that. I have a friend who he's from the South, and he has a Confederate flag. And he says, Ed, I'm not a racist. You and I are best of friends, but this is just my culture. And I said, can I ask you something? If I were German and you were Jewish, and I had a Nazi flag flying in front of my house, and I said, yo, man, I'm German. I ain't got nothing against you. This is just my culture. Would you see that in the same light? And do you know what? He had to admit, no, I wouldn't see that in the same light. You see, racism is such a natural part of American history, our original sin, that people just think, oh, come on, it's just the good old boys from Dixie. We lost more Americans in the Civil War than in any war in the history of this country. The Confederacy was a conquered people. So why are you all waving the flag? But then if a brother comes, get on the stand at the Olympics and put his fist in the air and say, hey, my people have overcome. We won. Oh, see, so we got a lot of understanding, and it all begins with dialogue. We have to, sometimes we get angry, and in an argument, you don't want to raise your voice. You want to strengthen your argument or discussion. That's the way you resolve conflict. So it's very important.
So I want to ask you a question that is a bit controversial, okay? Because I could have took the easy, safe route, but you're leading to something that's a little more important. It's a little more controversial question, and that is, you talked about representing, communicating what your intention, but then to do it with strength. And what I have found is that sometimes black people, they can communicate amongst each other with a lot of confidence and strength. Sometimes amongst each other, like children at home, but when they go out and they have to represent who they are, they're apologetic about, and they don't have that same conviction. Let's say you got black people in front of some white folks, they're not talking with the same amount of confidence. What do you think? Have you observed anything like that in your time, or and what do you think is somewhat of a remedy for that, to have more confidence? And I'm speaking to you also from an attorney who had to represent cases in front of many different juries of all different colors.
Yeah, I think that's because, again, the perception of who you are versus the reality of who you are. And with any degree of education, there's a commensurate degree of socialization. When you are of higher educational background and training, you've also been taught that you don't talk in certain ways. You don't act in certain ways. That's a part of a highly educated, but you've been taught that either directly or indirectly. Like I look at Steve Harvey, who is an excellent commentator, very brilliant brother, great businessman, very wealthy. But when he gets on TV saying this and that and them and those, I start saying, in my mind, I said, why am I taken aback by that? Because in my backdrop, if you have been properly educated and you're speaking English, not to the hood. See, nobody speaks Ebonics better than I do. I've talked to the homies on the real, okay? But the reality is, Steve, you're not talking to the homies. There's certain things you say at home with your kinfolk, your peoples, that you don't say in a large audience. So sometimes the difference is that We just don't know the appropriate way to communicate strongly and effectively. And sometimes we take passivity to be, well, that's the appropriate way to do it. No, you can communicate strongly, but it's just the manner in which you do it. When I went to law school, they were saying that my law school admissions test, my grades were high in undergraduate school, my law school admissions test was just not at the high level that they accept students. And one of the people on my admissions board, I'm having an interview, he said, well, how do you explain that? And why should we make an exception for you? We have students with much higher law school admissions score. And I said, sir, that test was administered over a 4.5 to 5 hour period. My grade point average in college was administered over a 4-year period. So I think that it is unfair to put so much emphasis on a 4-hour examination versus 4 years of study, diligence, and exam taking. I think that you can't always judge somebody by the heights that they attain, but many times on the depths from whence they have come. So all I'm asking you for is a fair opportunity to show what I'm capable of doing. When I said that, in the manner I said that, it just, boom, it resonated, and they accepted. But I really think it wasn't that I was so profound in what I was saying, as much as it was that individual on that admissions committee had never heard a black man speak like that. I guarantee you. I can look at his face and say, man, where this guy go to school? He'd never heard anyone speak like that. So that's what we have to learn. I listen to a lot of great speakers in Toastmasters, but they don't understand that you're moving beyond the black culture, the black community, beyond the American culture. You're moving now on the international stage, and you must communicate clearly, concisely, effectively, but also correctly, so that everybody knows precisely what you're saying. That's something we have to be taught.
So how much is it? So if a person is, they're trying, let's say we're talking about building up communication skills, primarily for the purposes of just being a more confident speaker and getting your point across. Because I find that many people, they either don't know they don't know what to say, meaning they don't know how to collect and put their thoughts together, or it takes them too long to say it. They can't be brief enough and concise enough to get to the point. Okay, those are those eulogy, extended eulogy speakers, right? Or it's a person that sometimes they don't understand the power of the delivery, right? They think it's more about the words and not understanding the vibe, so it just ain't resonating, even though it's making sense, but it ain't hitting, So what would you say as a general guide to give people so they can develop that confidence when it comes to speaking impromptu?
I think the key is to understand that speaking is a skill. It is a skill. It isn't just an action. Talking is an action, but speaking is a skill. Now, when you talk about verbosity, being too long-winded, the old preacher said, son, make sure you finish talking before they finish listening. Okay? So if you talking and they didn't finish listening, you wasting your time, So there are little things like that, little insights that when you have a coach, and I think that's the importance of having a good speech coach, or someone that can tell you, this is how you do it. Because once you get in the habit of doing something a certain way, you just presume that's the correct way to do it. That's the way you've always done it. Oh, nothing could be further than the truth. There are people that brush their teeth up and down, up and down, up and down. I've been doing this since I've been brushing my teeth. But if you go to any dentist, they'll tell you should make swirling motions. You should brush along the gum line. You should because they're telling you more precise ways and proper ways of doing something as simple as brushing your teeth. You cannot be a good speaker unless you're a good listener. You cannot be a good speaker unless you're open to observation and constructive criticism. Some people are already convinced. I'm sorry, but our beloved president, if he tells us one more time how intelligent he is, how fantastic everything he does is, I'm going to say, can we spell narcissist? You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. Intelligent people are like the founding fathers. They wrote, we hold some truths to be self-evident. I don't have to go around telling everybody I'm intelligent. But if you're going to learn how to speak, the key to learning is listening, understanding, and being open to feedback. You have strength, you have weaknesses, you have things that you need to improve. And a lot of people just need to understand that.
Yeah.
They really need to grasp that.
Yeah, I think a big part of it that I've noticed is the power of the vibe, like having a good vibe. You know, I've noticed a lot of times that when I go in situations, sometimes it's about the energy that I put myself into. You know, before I open up my mouth, I put myself in a certain space of confidence where it's like it don't even matter what I say. You know, I just know it feels good. It's gonna feel good. You know, when I say it. You know, and that's have you experienced any of that with like putting yourself in a certain mental state and a certain energy at all that helps?
Oh,
that
absolutely,
helps you?
absolutely, and that has to do with confidence and your capabilities. That has to do with precision. That has to do when you know beyond a shadow of a doubt what you are saying. I recently got into a discussion online in one of these little chats. I commented on something, and a lady was making the comment that the reason rich people are rich because they work harder, and poor people, they have a victim mentality. And she was saying all the things that a lot of people feel. Now, there was some truth to what she was saying. But I was saying, what difference does it make if you're born on certain sides of the track? Does that say I have a victim mentality if I say Donald Trump evaded the draft 4, 5, 6 times? You know, I mean, what does that know? When you have money, when you have privilege, you have opportunities that other people simply don't have. America is a great country because for 200 years it had free labor. It did not pay its slaves. So if I had even 2 people working for me for even 5 years, and they would do anything I commanded them to do, and I didn't have to pay them a dime, how much further ahead could I be in life? So when I started talking to her in that capacity, I'm glad that this lady, she wrote back and I wrote back, but she was listening. She said, you bring a perspective that I haven't really thought about. Sure. If you're born a Kennedy, you're born a millionaire. Do you think that's the same as the average kid born in the hood?
Yeah.
Come on, man. You got $1 million when you're born. Donald Trump's, Jared and Ivanka Trump have made $89 million in the years that they've been in the White House working for the president. Pull out their resume and look at it and tell me that they're qualified more than the average person to do those jobs. Come on, you got to be kidding. You got to be kidding. So it does. Access to power, all those kinds of things give you a leg up. But when you can communicate effectively, when you can think and develop your thoughts skillfully, that gives you a leg up. You're much better than the person. If you're in the sports world and you're a Muhammad Ali, you're going to make millions versus if you're the guy who's great at his craft, but he's like a Marshawn Lynch. He makes millions, but he doesn't even want to talk.
So here's my question is, we mentioned the word confidence several times. And I know with you personally, I know you're going through a lot of changes, like you said, with your legs. You just got your prosthesis. You've been in a wheelchair for I don't know if it's 3 to 4 years.
Yeah.
And how do you still maintain? How do you not allow that to impact your confidence completely? Because that's gonna mess with some confidence, right? Because things are different. It's an adjustment. So how do you still allow your confidence for you to work on that muscle?
Okay, I think there are 3 words that everybody needs to keep in mind. What you think, what you feel, and what you truly believe will determine the totality of your life. Let's deal with the first one. The things you think, the mind, how you develop your thoughts. Every day, I think I'm getting stronger. I think I'm getting better. I think I'm getting more effective. What you think has a grave impact on the totality of your life. Now, the second one is the affect domain, what you feel. I feel like I know I've gained weight sitting in this chair. I've gained weight that I feel every day, one step at a time, baby steps. I'm getting better. I feel that. The last is what you truly believe. I truly believe I'm a winner. I think I was born to be a winner. Winning is in my DNA, and I'm not going to quit until I get there. If you harness the power of those three things, what you think, what you feel, and what you believe, and you develop that toward a specific goal, you will be amazed at how it will transform your life.
That's powerful. If possible, as a hustler homie, I want to add on one of those. Well, add one to those, and I would say also what you do. And I would say the do factor, and it could be different for everybody, but it's finding some sort of small. I know what helps me is always finding something small, a small goal that I can work on every single day, that help me develop a small milestone and build upon it. Like, for example, like today, like this meeting we had was late, and I apologize for that. But what happened is I started my day off to the races. Like when I woke up to someone calling me saying, "Hey, let's do a deal." And it's like when I started with that little small victory, kicking off my day with, okay, I'm waking up to a deal that was positive, that one thing began to trickle, and then it led to boom. Then I had a second deal, and then so now it's like 12, almost 12 o'clock, and that momentum has been really helping me, and I think that applies in all areas. If we're figuring out ways to give ourselves small doses of momentum, I think it's extremely important as well. That helps with that.
And you know what? When you do small things consistently, they become habitual. And the opposite is true as well. When you do negative things habitually, that becomes a habit. And those little things make a big difference in your life. I mean, I get a lot of mail about people talking about love and relationships. And I write on my Facebook page a lot about love and relationships. It is the little things in a relationship that add up to bigger things that add up to total calamity. Every now and then you get a calamitous thing that happens, but it's the little things. And when you're in love, you don't notice those little things. But baby, once you get married and the mask comes off, you notice every little thing.
Yeah.
And when you put those together, the aggregate sum of those little things become a big thing. It's like the old saying, a finger. A finger can thump you, a hand can slap you. But if you ball your fist up, those fingers into a fist, it can literally kill you. It can literally kill you.
That's super powerful there. So, wow. So, in closing, that's so much. There's so much that I want to ask you, but I know hopefully, we can get you back on the show sometime soon, if possible. But you're a speaker. I know you're an international speaker, and I know you're looking to start getting into doing more gigs. So if someone wanted to book you who's watching this show right now, how would they go about booking you or getting that info? What would they do?
You can go to edherninternational.com online, and that's my webpage. Or they can contact me through my Facebook page. If you're on Facebook, just go to Messenger and hit me up with Edward Hearn on Facebook Messenger. I'm getting some dates together for 2020, and I'm telling you, I'm excited by the possibility. Somebody says, "How can you be excited when you got one foot in the grave and the other one on a banana peel?" I said, "That's not my situation. See, I only have one foot, but it's the good foot, baby. I'm standing on the good foot, and I'm going to take off in 2020 like never before." So if they want to contact me, hit me up on Facebook or go to edherninternational.com and send me a message. I'll get back to you.
Absolutely, and we'll do that. And I know, and we gotta work on some online courses or classes or something soon to provide people, because because the wisdom and the motivation is one thing, But it's even better when people can, be able to ask you some direct questions and be able to apply that, implement. It's about implementation. Because a lot of us, we're working and we hear this stuff, and it may not be the right time for some people. Some people, they hear it, it goes in their subconscious mind, which is great, but they may not be able to act on it until they've heard it, maybe 2 months down the line. And that's what they get, when they get opportunity to get a person like you in an online course. So, we'll work on that. We'll work on something like that, so that way.
Well, can I throw this in? And the way you've inspired me with your book, when you talk about do, it's about shut up and hustle, baby. It's about, you can talk and dream all you want, but you got to shut up and hustle. You got to get out there. Talking is what you intend to do. When you hustle and display that, that will take you to the next level. That's what it's really all about.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad you said that, because I want to say this last thing about hustle. Like, a lot of people think hustle is just about just moving around and just taking action. And no, to me, hustle it's about you doing whatever that you need to do so that you can get to the next level, so you can become a better person. And it's about stretching yourself beyond your own perceived limitations. That's the hustle. It's succeeding without any excuses. That's the hustle. And that's not just you just randomly doing stuff, or you just trying to take advantage of people. And so there's different levels of the hustle. But I'm so glad that you said that, because that's what it's about, taking your potential and applying it and getting some type of result, even if it's not the result you wanted.
Hey, that's for sure. That's for sure. And the only thing that's going to make your life different in 2020 are the things you do. That very point you just made. Things you start doing right now as you enter 2020, and the things you do in a positive capacity with repetition, with passion, and with hustle. That's what's going to make your life different.
Absolutely. Man, that's so powerful. That is so powerful. So with that being said, you guys make sure that you follow and stay in tune with Ed. He has I'm telling you something that I don't tell most people, but because y'all watching at the end, I'll tell you, we have the book, Shut Up and Rebuild Yourself, that is releasing really soon. So we'll be able to be taking pre-orders. If you guys want to get that, leave it in the comment section. Just put rebuild yourself. Put I want to rebuild myself in the comment section. And so that way we can get to you. But also make sure you follow Ed, because he's an amazing writer. You think he's a great speaker, but he's an amazing writer. And you can be able to tune in with his motivational quotes that he does every day. And that's totally for free. That's totally for free, no cost. But just because it's for free, this is still, jewels that can be able to not just brighten up your day, but change your entire life if you apply and resonate with these pieces.
All right.
So with that being said, make sure y'all tune in. This is the Shut Up and Hustle Show. We got our host. I'm your host. We have our special guest. We will be coming back to y'all soon. We look forward to continue to serve you. And subscribe to the page. I am your platform partner, Jackson. All about making things happen. Addicted to action. And we will see you in the future. Peace.
All right. Take